than that. Come on, make some noise. Not bad, not, okay, this side, you're gonna let them outdo you? Make some noise, this side of the room. Oh, this side. This side. Woo, that's what I'm talking about. That's some fire. Everybody's still caffeinated or ready to go. Now tell me, does anyone out here play GTA? Yes, yes. All right, guys, perhaps a little Red Dead Redemption? Ooh, ooh. Well, we've got a really great treat for you guys right now. We're going to bring out the creative force behind these and many other projects. Dan Hauser. Yes. Now, let's begin by bringing out our moderator first, IGN Senior Executive Editor, Ryan McCaffrey, to get things started. Give him a big, warm Comic-Con welcome.
Welcome, friends. What? Do I have? All right. Let's bring out Dan. Dan, come on out. All right. So we're gonna do the speed run here, Dan. I could talk to you for 3 hours about everything you've accomplished in your career and everything you're building now at Absurd Ventures, because that's why you're here. You're not here for your health. We've got new projects. We've got a new company based right here in LA. But the internet would tar and feather me if I didn't start with the elephant in the room, a little thing called Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, you haven't been at Rockstar for some time. You've been building Absurd Ventures. But is it going to feel weird to you for GTA 6 to come out on May 26th of 26, and for you to not have like every square inch of it seared into your brain the first time you sit down to actually play it?
In a way. I mean, I think it's a great privilege to have worked on something that big, and to, you know, I wrote the last 10 or 11 of them, so I think the world's probably had enough GTA from me. I think it's, you know, they're always a new story, so it's not going to be a story that I wrote or a character set that I developed. I think it's going to be exciting. The game will be great, I'm sure.
So I got to go back. I've been playing GTA. I'm a massive, massive GTA fan. With respect to 1 and 2, 3 going 3D obviously just changed not only the trajectory of your company, Rockstar Games at the time, but really, arguably the entire game industry shifted from that. Was there a point in development where all of you went, oh shit, we really have something here with this 3D thing?
Well, it's funny being back in this hall, because we used to do E3 here, and I think we thought we had something very exciting around the end of, you know, March-ish 2001, and we came to E3 in May of 2001, and the rest of the world did not seem to agree with us. And they seemed completely underwhelmed by something we thought had the potential to be amazing. And then it was supposed to come out in September and got delayed because of 9/11.
Yeah.
And it came out, I think, mid-October 2001. And I think some of the press still didn't quite get it, but the audience did.
Yeah.
And it just kept rolling.
So was that moment then kind of, when does like that moment of success hit you guys where it's like starting to just turn into this momentum generating juggernaut that just doesn't stop?
Well, you know, it was a transitional moment, obviously, for everyone working on the project and for Take-Two as a company. Take-Two, I think, had been delisted from the stock market in September or August of 2001. It was going broke.
Yeah.
They didn't have even enough money to make enough copies of the game. We couldn't make it quick enough, and the game just kept selling. So it began well and just kept rolling through the end of that autumn into Christmas, and kept selling into New Year, and we kept thinking it would stop, and it just never stopped.
That's amazing. And then, of course, it obviously is still very much going today. And I'm kind of curious about the creative process that, in the GTA days. Like, how do you go about writing for a GTA game? Like, they're known for many things, but chief among them is where they're set. Liberty City, Vice City, all of, you know, San Andreas is, like, do you start with characters or location, or do you build those around the setting?
I think it changed over time. I think when I started work on GTA 3, the team already had laid out a story, and I made a few adjustments, but really we were figuring out quite fundamental building blocks of how we do storytelling in an open world game. You know, we'd heard other people were doing motion capture cutscenes, so we thought, that sounds fun. We had no money, so we bought it by the second. I found a studio in Long Island that could do it by the second. They could only do 3 people at once. We didn't think we had enough bandwidth to figure out how to make the main character speak. So it was very, you know, put together with bits of string. I think Alex Horton, who was the main animator on that, did an amazing job assembling that stuff, really making up as we went along. I think from a writing perspective, I hopefully got better as I went along, as I began to understand the process more. By GTA 4, we really tried to make it, you know, the games were going to what we called high definition, and we tried to make it a more character-rich experience. But it was always this combination of, it was almost like an equation, the tone of the world multiplied by the personality of the lead character. That was the game.
You were telling me backstage this great little story that is my favorite. One of my favorite parts of every GTA game are the radio stations, and specifically the talk radio stations, which Laszlo, who's with your new company now at Absurd Ventures,
out there somewhere.
He, you know, hearing his voice in real life was a little surreal, considering he's usually coming out of a speaker through a car in my Grand Theft Auto game. But you were telling me a story about how the idea of talk radio in a Grand Theft Auto game came together not only here, but pretty late back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a 2-year development cycle, GTA 3, and the first year was done by the team in Scotland under Leslie, getting the whole thing kind of stood up technically, and then we began to be able to drive around the world for more than a minute and thought, how with absolutely no money do we fill this with content? And Talk Radio, me and Laz were like, well, we can do that cheaply. And then someone came up with the idea of, let's have characters from the game call into the Talk Radio, and at that moment it began to be like, this is kind of magical how it's all tying together.
Oh, I love that so much. As I think most people have figured out, if they didn't know already, you are British.
Yes, sometimes.
And so I bring that up because you and the Rockstar team have always been very justifiably renowned for your biting satire of American culture, particularly with each successive Grand Theft Auto game. Do you think it's kind of your outsider perspective, not growing up in America, that made it kind of easier to shed some light on the absurdities within our American culture?
Excuse me. Well, yes and no. I mean, Laszlo definitely grew up in America, and he was also doing a lot of that with me. I think for me personally, it was an advantage to be an outsider and an insider. I was living here by the time I was doing that. And it was a huge advantage to be on the ground in America. If you think you understand America when you live in Britain, but you really don't. And when you come here, you start to grapple with it firsthand. It's a very different experience. But you know, growing up in the 80s and 90s, you are drowning in American culture in Britain. So you have a very strange reaction to it because you kind of know it and don't know it.
Yeah.
So I think the combination was very, very important.
Oh, that's cool. So I've said many times on IGN podcasts that you guys, specifically Rockstar North and the GTA Red Dead teams, are possibly the only video game development team on Earth that has world-class talent and pretty much unlimited resources and unlimited time, as we're seeing now with the wait for GTA 6, to do really anything and everything that you want, whereas 99% of other games we play, there are compromises made, cuts that are made. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that assessment? And if you do agree with it, can you kind of think of an example or two off the top of your head of what the combination of all of that allowed you to do in GTA or Red Dead that maybe in a traditional non-Rockstar setting would have had to hit the cutting room floor?
Well, I felt we always had some time pressure and some money pressure, and certainly a lot of self-imposed real pressure to make something great. So we certainly, I've always felt I was working under lots of pressure, even though the pressure's changed. But we could be imaginative. We were trying to always make something amazing, and the focus was if we made something amazing, it will sell enough to justify making another one. That was always the way, we tried to approach it. I think from GTA 4 onwards, when we started to do stuff like put television into the games, that was a somewhat of an indulgence, but I think it helped round out the experience. When we put silent movies into Red Dead, you didn't need them, but they helped set the tone of this cowboy world.
Because there had to come a point where your corporate overlords at Take-Two just stopped pressuring you at all for anything, right? Where they just like, oh, you guys need more money? Sure, have some more time, have some more resources.
Yeah, I didn't really liaise with them very much.
Yeah.
That wasn't my day-to-day experience.
They were smart enough to just leave you guys alone, basically.
Yeah, I'm sure other people were liaising with them, but that wasn't me. On the creative side, there was no direct involvement, or oversight.
Does one GTA or Red Dead, or just really any of the Rockstar games, because you touched them all over the years, do any stand out as a personal favorite for you over the years?
Of course. Red Dead 2, I think, was
still being played to this day.
The best thing that I worked on, the best single kind of realization of sort of open world storytelling, thematic consistency, and understanding how the games are assembled to take you on an emotional journey. I also think GTA 4, because we did try and evolve how we did the storytelling and did it in a fundamental way. I think the middle section of GTA 5 is amazing. When we got the three characters working, I think it was not flawless, but it was so smooth, that middle section. I thought that was really amazing. And then the end of Red Dead 1.
Yeah,
those are sort of my favorite bits.
Don't spoil it for anybody if you haven't
but I
finished.
think, in some ways, Red Dead 1 GTA 3 and Bully, because they were all essentially new or nearly new IP, doing that for the first time and assembling something strong, that's really a gratifying experience that I'm trying to take into what we're doing now.
Well, you brought up Bully. I would, again, it would be criminal, it would be journalistic malpractice of me to not ask, why did we never get a sequel to Bully?
I think there was just bandwidth issues. You know, if you've got a small lead creative team and a small senior leadership crew, you just can't do all the projects you want. And you know, with certainly how we're structuring it Absurd, we're trying to do 2 projects with a fairly small team, and it's really trying to think through that. How can we do that and keep them both moving?
So before we get to start talking more about Absurd, if you'll indulge me a couple more Rockstar GTA questions. So I'm of the opinion, which I imagine is probably shared by plenty of folks here, that GTA 5, I think, is probably at least one of the 10 best games ever made, period. I mean, it is just an absolute masterclass in so many. Its scope is really only somehow matched by its depth, which is unheard of in open world games. It's got story, it's got humor, it's got all sorts of hidden stuff. There's a tennis game, like a functioning tennis game in GTA 5. There's a functioning golf game in GTA 5. So
there's a functioning therapist.
Yes,
Sort of.
And it's gone on to sell over 200 million copies. So does that number do anything in your brain as those sales numbers come in, or do you just get kind of numb to it? Like, I'm just sort of curious how that sort of stratospheric effect on not just gaming but pop culture affects you.
Well, I live a pretty normal life. You know, what are you going to do? I love making stuff. I think that was why we went all in as a company. I went all in as an individual on trying to make Red Dead 2 a counterpoint to that. Because if you've made one of the biggest things ever, I wanted to make something really special for the next game, and that was really, you know, that was tonally very different, but took some of the ideas and took them in a different direction. So I think, you know, you're always trying to compete with what you've done in the past up to a point, but really it can't be from a sales perspective. It has to be from a creative perspective, or you'll send yourself insane.
So, all right, Absurd Ventures, that's what we're here to talk about. That's what you're building right now over in Santa Monica.
And San Rafael, up near you.
Yes, second studio up my way. So I had the pleasure of reading the first 2 issues of American Caper, which is your new graphic novel. It's on sale November 12th, by the way. Everybody make sure to check that out, especially if you're a GTA fan. You'll see kind of a few common themes there, and that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about. It seems very normal in the opening pages, and then it gets pretty dark pretty quickly. So I would argue that it's darker than anything you ever did at Rockstar. I don't know if you'd agree with that assessment, but what inspired the idea for American Caper?
I don't know if it's darker than Trevor, but it's from GTA 5, but it's heading in that direction. I love doing, obviously, crime comedy, and didn't want to do, you know, having done lots of stories about carjackers or people who had to be tough and be carjackers, and living in this moment right now, wanted to tell a story about some degenerate criminals from a completely different perspective and a completely different part of the world that you could never make a GTA game in.
Yeah.
So, you know, the combination of factors. But
I kind of saw what I thought were some similar themes to at least the Grand Theft Auto work specifically, like the American dream, I think is sort of touched on. The male ego is touched on, and violence as a means to an end, or at least an apparent solution to the character's problems. So, would you kind of agree with that? And what keeps you coming back to those themes throughout a lot of your work?
Well, I think men getting confused between reality and the fantasy in their heads is something a lot of stories are about, and it's something I find very interesting. America, particularly the rural West in this moment right now, is something I found interesting and thought was an interesting place to set a sort of dark comedy. I think we're trying to do, you know, still grappling with kind of contemporary American themes, but doing it from a different perspective, where the heroes are not kind of outsider criminals from the wrong side of the tracks, but people that should be insiders and have been led astray.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really interesting take on the kind of criminal, the space where between sort of criminality and political beliefs has got so blurred. I thought that was interesting and worth looking at.
For folks that haven't had a chance to pick up American Caper yet, can you kind of give the quick, like, elevator pitch version of what it's all about?
Small town, suburban, quote unquote, successful people. One is a happily married-ish, in his mind, lawyer. The other is a happily married, in his mind, property developer. Both have made some terrible mistakes, and their lives go very awry.
So to wrap up, you are not, we're talking American Caper, this graphic novel. You've got a podcast series as well, an accompanying book with that. But you're not out of gaming. You're not out of gaming. Absurd Ventures is teaming up with Smilegate on your company's first game. Can you give us any hints about Absurd Ventures' first video game?
Well, we've got 2 games in development. One is in our comedy world, which we're calling the Absurdiverse, and it's going to be an open world third-person comedy. And the other is set in our other universe, which is called A Better Paradise, and it's going to be a third-person dystopian tragedy or dystopian mess. And it's both are in early development, both really exciting to be working on something new.
Well, it's great to have you back in video games. And in the meantime, you can go read American Caper, the graphic novel series, out November 12th. So that's keep an eye out for that in just a couple months from now. Dan Houser, co-founder of Rockstar, co-creator of Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption. The list goes on. And now, founder of Absurd Ventures. Follow him, check him out. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.